start with Atletico Madrid and Manchester City. Julián Álvarez, or Julian, as some people may call him, they've agreed 81.5 million smackaroonies for the talented forward. My goodness.
That's a lot of cheese for a big spider.
You win a World Cup and you can name your price.
I think when you get up to that kind of level of money, I don't think it is smackaroonie. I think it's a spondulic.
A spondulic?
It's a haul.
It's 81.5 million spondulic.
It's a Scrooge McDuck vault.
When do we call them boys?
Boys is a denomination. It's like bags.
Okay.
Bags, boys.
So you wouldn't say 81.5 million boys?
I suppose you would, because bags is 1,000, isn't it?
I think we're up to big ones.
Big ones, yeah. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Whoppers. 81.5 whoppers.
It is a big deal.
I tell you what, if they get that, look, he's a very good player.
Oh, what are they going to do with it? What are they going to do with all that money? Come out late to the tune of 10 minutes every fucking second half.
So that's how they do
Here
it
are
now.
men in suits. Can you keep them at bay for a bit?
They convert that money into late kick-off minutes.
Yes!
Yeah, so guys, the good news is, so sad news that Julian's gone.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I think we've got other parts
We
of
could
the
all have
squad
extra graphic kicks.
But the good news, you get a lie-in tomorrow because the 12:30 kickoff's now 2 p.m.
Can you imagine, like,
It's
Pep
sort of like
Guardiola
Disney dollars.
at half-time? Like Pep's so well organised in his team. He just tucks his players into bed for like 20 minutes while they're in before the second half.
That guy who apparently, according to Wayne Rooney, but denied by Frank Lampard, would massage Frank's and John Terry's
until he
feet.
dozed off, yeah.
By the way, but on that, even though it was a little while ago, that's a lovely old job.
What?
Like if you were a footballer, it's stressful. If I've got to say,
I think it's indicative of a wider malaise.
Indeed, Peter.
Emotionally, mentally, technically.
Peter, bear with me, right? You and I, we're professional footballers.
Yeah.
We're incredibly important.
We love getting our
footballers.
feet touched.
Yeah. Would we not?
But while
Would
you're,
we not?
while you're
Would
getting
you
your...
and I,
but
we
would
could
we
share
must?
a king-size bed and we could get someone
Hang on,
middle-aged
I've got
man.
an issue with this because you would never room with Pete back in the day. It was always me rooming with Pete.
Always try to
Always
touch my
took you.
feet.
That's true.
I did room with Pete, and he woke up in the night and made the noise of an alarm clock. You probably don't remember that.
I think it went beep, 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 beep.
You sat up in the night and did that.
Yeah, I'm a talker, I'm a laugher, I'm a midnight talker.
You're a lover.
Very much a lover.
The level of embarrassment that Frank Lampard shows you why it is not appropriate.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
And also, if you're Frank Lampard in that situation and you're getting your foot massage first, John Terry is making loads of jokes about you getting a happy ending, and it's going to put you off.
Yes,
It's not going to be
exactly,
relaxing.
Do you think Diego Simeone will be giving
Foot massages.
Julián Álvarez a little foot massage to sleep?
I think if there's
To
foot
settle you in here.
if there's foot massages going on at Atletico Madrid, I don't think Simeone's giving them.
No, that's a metatarsal right off the bat, isn't it?
Oh, you've turned my feet into dust. I'm not sure I can run as fast as
Well, I mean, that's probably why Griezmann's potentially leaving. I think he might be heading to LA with Giroud. Oh, God, I'd love them too.
Yeah, but
Do a buddy cop drama.
that is
Buddy
not a
cop
football
TV
job.
show.
That is a fucking acting job.
Gri-
I've heard one.
Griezmann loves.
He does love LA, doesn't he?
Yeah. At this point now, he's won so much in his career that I think he's just a bit like, I just want to watch basketball. I want to hang out at
Giroud,
Disneyland.
Griezmann
I just want to
in
be
a
a Magic
supercar,
Mike with
mopping
Giroud.
around,
Yeah, exactly.
mopping around LA.
I think that's
Lovely.
it.
He sort of never entertained the idea of moving to England because of the weather, and like very openly in lots of interviews. And I always thought that was funny. Just like, nah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I get the most money there, but rain.
Nah, not even that.
Sod him, Jim.
Yeah.
Sod him.
Sounds like he hasn't got the moral fibre for our league.
No, I don't think he has. Atletico Madrid, I mean, they get Álvarez. That'd be a great signing, and it's a surprising one as well. I wouldn't have thought Man City would want him to go. Pep Guardiola said, he was in our plans this season and all that kind of stuff. Álvarez's comments were interesting. When he said last season I was one of the players with the most minutes, but in the end you don't like being left out of the important matches, you want to contribute. Now, he was brought on as a sub in the second half in the FA Cup final. He was brought on against Madrid in those
late
two games.
on before extra time as well in the second
Exactly,
leg.
in the Champions League final in 2023. I don't think he got on the pitch. So it is interesting that he was used an awful lot, but when it came to the crunch, Pep seemed to set up in a way that basically it was Haaland who was the main striker and Foden and those kind of players were there rather than having that sort of second striker. If you know what I mean.
I think a lot of players would be happy with that sort of role in a team like Man City, especially when they're winning trebles and things like that. But I do think Álvarez is good enough to be essentially one of the world's top strikers. I think if he plays in that position regularly, he will score tons and tons of goals. And I could understand why he might want to move out of Haaland's shadow.
Yeah,
But it's also because the minutes he's played are roughly commensurate with the idea that De Bruyne and Haaland have both had time out of the side with injuries, particularly De Bruyne. And Álvarez is very versatile, right? So he can pop out wherever. And the problem is the way Guardiola manages his squad and the way he does stuff, you probably never fully know how much you're going to play and how much you're not going to play. And so maybe he just thinks, if I make this move, I'm going to play the whole time.
And also with Alvarez is that he's won so much for crying out loud, and he's played a lot in England. He didn't duck that like Griezmann did.
Yeah,
as we
Slug.
know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and also as well to go to a country where they also speak Spanish. It's a different culture and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a really good move for him, and he would be one of their key players. You would imagine if he went there,
and you don't have to run around as much because Conor Gallagher's doing it for
absolutely
you.
right. Absolutely
at the age of 24, what Alvarez has won is incredible. He's won like 2
crazy,
Copa Americas, a World Cup, the Champions League, 2 Premier Leagues, a FA Cup, a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, loads of stuff in Argentina with River as well.
Yeah, I think he won a treble there.
Right, so it's just, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
no Carabao though.
No, well, he hasn't won the Carabao. So maybe that'll play on his mind probably. You can imagine him coming back at Chelsea in 3 or 4 years' time just saying, give me the Carabao.
Yeah.
Pay me in Carabao and give me the Carabao.
If it's still the Carabao.
Exactly, yeah.
Might not be the Carabao by then. That
I don't know what the deal is.
It might be the fucking...
The Milk Cup. We're going to go back to the Milk.
The Reform Cup.
Bitcoin Cup I'd rather. And that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
It would be a bit... Bitcoin aren't going League Cup.
No.
Bitcoin are going to go Prem.
Dogecoin.
It's a Dogecoin Cup probably.
Oh, that one that Martin Shkreli launched with Baron Trump this week.
Oh,
the
my
Trump
God.
coin.
Trump coin.
Trump coin. It'd be Trump
The
coin.
League Cup brought to you by Trump coin. and Alvarez is lifting it as a Chelsea player.
Yeah. Nice. I like it.
The future's bright. Well, look, Atletico Madrid, they've been splashing the cash, which at the moment, obviously with FFP and all that kind of stuff, we know that there's not been as many big deals, but that one is a huge one.
They're making moves, and Atletico Madrid have really been so consistent in terms of their domestic performance. And if you look at them back before this whole era they're in now, they're certainly more inconsistent domestically, and in recent years in Spain they've been there or thereabouts, which they've not won a massive amount of league titles, but then you've got the spectre of Barcelona and Real Madrid, who are like genuine super clubs. So it's quite interesting to see how that affects them this season.
Well, they're playing in Hong Kong today, so they may be derailed by some kind of dentist chair situation.
Could
Or
happen.
it could galvanise them.
Yeah.
I think they've spotted an opportunity, haven't they, with Barcelona being sort of a little bit inconsistent.
This is what I was going to say.
Actually, this is the time to invest.
With Real Madrid strengthening, it's fair to
I
say.
also love
they've got to respond to that, and
I love the Conor Gallagher.
I do as well,
because I feel like I know Conor Gallagher's turned down contracts at Chelsea, and I know that it took some people, and myself included, a little bit of time to work out exactly what he's bringing to the table. But for someone who's been captain of Chelsea, who are a big club, particularly these days, and has played a lot, he's spent the last 18 months or so essentially being farmed out to anyone who'll have him, which is a weird situation for a player of that importance for the team. And if he lands up at Atletico Madrid, I just think that's a great move.
I think it's a great move, and as Jim said recently on the Ramble, I still get a buzz when an English player moves abroad, especially to a big club like that, and you think, well, we are going to see him at some point if it's in European competition or if you watch a bit of La Liga. By the way, be a little bit careful when you talk about Conor Gallagher. You don't want to be in a year or two's time going, oh yeah, I'm backtracking a bit, like people did with Harry Maguire. People just think of him like there's this Forrest Gump type player, and obviously he runs around a lot. I think like during the Euros he was a bit derided as, oh, well, why are you bringing him on? We've got much better players and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes like, well, what else does he bring other than sort of energy? And it's like, no,
I don't think it's derision to sort of highlight the pressing element of his game, though.
Well, I think people do it in a way that, well, I suppose he's got a good engine. I think he's a better player than sometimes people say.
I think that's a fair point. If he can do half, if he can achieve half of what Jordan Henderson achieved at Ajax, I think this would be a very, very good move.
And if he can change the hearts and minds
of
the Spanish public, then maybe they won't win so many bloody finals.
If he can stop the Spanish just having a kip during the day, what an amazing impact he'll have.
What's that noise? Oh, it's Gallagher running up and down the street. Well, yeah, there's your mission, sir, and you will choose to accept it. Yes, Gallagher's leaving Chelsea and Alvarez is leaving Manchester City. It certainly looks like that. But Phil Foden is a Man City man through and through. He's been spending his post-Euro holidays fishing with his dad in the Cotswolds. Isn't that bloody lovely?
Unless you're a fish. in which case you're getting bullied by Phil Foden.
True, but I think by the time they've
By
got
no
short
means alone in that in terms of species, though. Every human being who plays against him gets bullied.
But
by
they've got a
him.
short memory, so as soon as you put them back in the water, they're like, hey, what's it?
Fine, yeah,
and
it's
off
fine.
they go.
Fair
Well, I've got a bit of a sore lip.
Yeah. But then they forget about that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Some big old fish he caught.
Carp. Yeah, I've actually been past where he's fishing. It's in between Oxford and Whitney in Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
Lovely part of the world.
It is a lovely part
It's
of the
David Cameron country.
world. Oh, is it?
It's David Cameron's old constituency. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, the particular tabloid that reported this story said an onlooker was quoted as saying this. Now, this particular tabloid, which we don't want to name for obvious reasons, kept going on about that it was a £14 a day holiday and he's like got loads of money in a way that's kind of like, oh, he's proving he's a man of the people because it's only a 14 and he owns loads of money.
Yeah.
His tent was cheap. Yeah, exactly.
Let me give people a
he
little
didn't
peek.
have a gold tent.
A little peek behind the curtain here. The onlooker who's
Yep.
quoted here, which I'm sure you're going to read the quote, quite simply does not exist.
Yeah.
That's
That's how this works.
Yeah,
That's how this works.
Does the average onlooker, if they see a Premier League player fishing, in, not just a Premier League player, the Premier League player of the season, right? You look across, you go, that's Phil Foden there.
Yeah.
Phil was happy as Larry, camping out in a cheap tent. He was so down to earth and just hell-bent on trying to land himself a carp, as the lake has some absolutely enormous ones in it. While his England pals were living it up in posh hotels next to beaches, the most luxurious thing Phil had on his holiday was a portaloo. An onlooker didn't say that. An onlooker would have gone,
You don't know where he's staying.
And you haven't been in the tent. And also, if Raheem Sterling was in that, it'd be cheapskate Raheem, 50 million. Love rat. Stealing fish and throwing them back.
He kept catching different fish, didn't he? He didn't stick with the same fish.
If it was Raheem Sterling, the headline would be "Carp Rat Tortures Fish."
Yeah, so
Spoiled England rat deliberately baffles fish. Also, within this quote, like, he was down to earth and hell bent in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Like, what does a person look like with that sort of combination of characteristics?
Roy Hodgson.
I suppose
That's
so.
true, yeah. Supremely arrogant in the shell of an old man.
Of an owl.
An old owl.
Who was probably getting his claws on some fish himself if he could. I mean...
The whole thing here is that Phil
bollocks.
Foden likes fishing.
Yeah.
That's the story.
But why is he not spending more, Luke? Why is he not spending it on a £20 a day holiday?
Why is he not hanging out with David Batty? Give us something, Phil.
David
Why is he not just
Something.
machine gunning those fish? Be much quicker.
David Seaman.
You could afford it.
You did David Seaman. David Seaman's a big. He's like fishing first, football second.
Well, he's a
isn't he?
seaman.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's in the name.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, good luck to you, Phil. Hope you get some more carps.
Should we get on to the main bit now, Marcus?
Come on then. Fulham making moves. Here we go. This is it. Last week, Fulham confirmed the signing of Emile Smith-Rowe after he was treated appallingly by Arsenal. and he's found a lovely home in a nicer part of London, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It's understood the deal could rise to a club record fee of $34 million with add-ons. You mentioned this at the time, and I have to say it again. I've never seen such...
A Fulhaming as signing him to Fulham's ranks.
That, but also the outpouring of love from the Arsenal fans. Like,
They love him.
Really sad to see him go.
Yeah, and his own posts as well were really emotional.
I know. And then there were fans saying, I hope we got some sort of buyback clause and so on. I thought, well, not while Mikel Arteta's there, you won't. But
He's been there. He's been at Arsenal since he was about 9 years old, though, as you guys were saying. So it's been quite something to see that, and it shows you the talent he has. And
Succulent homegrown sale.
he's our beautiful boy now.
and if he can stay fit, like he's only 24.
Yeah.
And what he's been a victim of, and I think you guys did touch on this, but I wasn't on that show, so let me have my say.
Please.
He's suffered from two main things. One is that he's clearly had some difficulty and some bad luck with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is there's been a whole revolution at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's got to happen a certain way. And it's not as though he hasn't featured here or there. He's just not really been a go-to guy.
Not nearly as enough of a player of that talent.
And it's a very competitive position for Arsenal.
Well, his best position doesn't really exist in that team anymore.
Right, exactly.
But even
And
if
so-
he was to play out wide and in the centre, you've got three guys there who are nailed on starters and are young as well. It's not like one of them's 33 kind of
And it's a great move all round. It's a move that you don't see an awful lot in football, which is he's going to a club which really, from Arsenal's point of view, aren't really a threat. Right,
But there will be this season.
He's going to be loved there. They're going to love him. It's almost like one of those moves where the shirt almost suits him already, kind of thing.
Yep.
Fulham, I've been to Fulham a lot, as Marcus knows, and he's a kind of player that Fulham fans love.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
exactly that kind of player. So if he can stay injury free, It's an amazing signing for them.
With the injury thing as well, it's a quite unusual situation because the surgery he had was because of something in his body. Essentially, it was a kind of a growing pain sort of issue which had to be corrected.
It was his own groin trying to strangle him to death, wasn't it?
It was. We touched on his own groin trying to strangle him to death. So unless there is a recurrence of that evil groin, you wouldn't expect him to necessarily be sort of an injury-prone player because that's quite an unusual
Battle of the groin
circumstance.
Battle of the groin, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing him play.
Yeah, same in a sort of painful way.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, but Luke's right. I mean, Fulham are not rivals at all to Arsenal in any sort of shape or form, and one could be surprised. Actually,
Why didn't you roll over and lose last season? Would have been really useful.
Kingmakers in a way that none of us wanted.
But they had to, it was all part of the long con. They had to do that because they wanted to get Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah, and this season, your man Smith Rowe is going to get the goals that's going to put Arsenal back on the throne. But I was slightly surprised, and obviously very happy that he'd gone to Fulham, but surprised that maybe a bigger club didn't go in for him.
But then there are risks, though, right?
Well, there's risk. I mean, and he may well have wanted to stay in London. There's that as well.
Yeah.
But also, apparently, Marco Silva, who I think is a very good manager, really sold it to him. And I think, again, that is the thing with Fulham. You know, whenever I think, sold Palhinha, it didn't come as a surprise. What do you think? But actually, that's when you have a manager like that, you think, God, big Marco.
He's good at improving players, isn't he? Especially
Definitely.
players that sort of have a bit to prove themselves.
Yes,
So
and
it's
likes to play for a club of Fulham sort of mid-table kind of status. Likes to play on the front foot as well. Now, Pereira is the player who provides that industry in the area of the pitch.
He's a great example.
Yeah, a brilliant example. Pereira plays in that area of the pitch that Smith Rowe would probably want to operate. But there are wide positions. You know, Julián seemingly left. Bobby De Cordova-Reid has left. So there's areas out wide. But I think with Fulham's powerful fullbacks, you know, Robinson being one, I think that gives him enormous license to drift and actually kind of have the kind of bit more of a role on that right side, cutting in that he may well want. And I think he's really flourished there.
It's simply Fulham's most exciting signing, probably since Mitrovic. Possibly. I mean, Anthony Knockaert maybe, who's like a really talented player. But I mean, talking the levels here.
Are you talking attacking? Because obviously Palhinha was...
Fine.
But I suppose people didn't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Palhinha's reputation has really been burnished since then. So I would say it's their most exciting signing for a very, very long time.
Scored 7 minutes into his debut against Sevilla.
Nice goal as well.
And Anthony Robinson Cross as well. So there's already a bit of a partnership
Fulham,
there.
Fulham already won the Algarve Cup.
Wow.
Get it in the bag. It's
a whole new era.
You were saying the other day about lovely old jobs in pre-season tours and so on. The Algarve Cup. You're playing Benfica. You're on the Algarve.
Is it in that
Come
amazing
on.
stadium in the Algarve with the open side?
Oh, Braga Stadium.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but
It's
there is
Braga's-
a stadium in the Algarve. That is absolutely picturesque.
It will be, won't it?
Braga's not in the Algarve, is it? Probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
But I immediately went to that one because that's quite a
The
stunning.
Braga one is carved into like an old quarry, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. They've got some good ones down there.
Yeah.
But Fulham also reportedly trying to sign Scott McTominay. Now, they're hustling and bustling Manchester United for this deal. Because Manchester
More
United,
Fulham signings, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Do you know he scored 10 goals last season, McTominay?
Did he really?
Yeah, he's a very versatile player.
All of them came in injury time
Yeah.
in one
All
particular
headers.
game.
All headers off his knee somehow.
Just seems like a weird sort of player to sell though for Manchester United because
They need to sell. That's
yeah.
the Radcliffe and austerity.
Yeah, but there's a homegrown element to it, isn't there? That's the point.
They need to patch up that hole though, for crying out loud.
Yeah, they do.
It's not going to be summer all year long, is it?
No, it's not. And you've got to fix it while the sun's shining. You have to.
Especially in Manchester.
I would say Fulham's moves are interesting. Just very quickly, the most interesting moves I think have been made by West Ham so far this summer.
They've made some good ones.
They're
trying to get one
For
for
any
Saka.
other club, though, they would be good ones, but you just know for a fact they're not going to get a tune out of Fulkrug.
I
know
know what you mean.
Lopetegui.
I think Jim
David
might have-
Moyes might not get a tune out of him, but Moyes is gone.
As soon
Moyes
as you
is back
put
on
that
his boat.
shirt on, as soon as you put that shirt on, you have a bad
strikers
time.
do struggle at West Ham. We know.
Yeah, well, they can't stop signing them, can they?
Yeah, we don't really do.
We haven't tried that yet.
Why don't they deploy the old
Yeah.
Craig Levine? I'm not going Pep Guardiola on this. I'm going Craig Levine.
They
the
can't-
4-6-0.
They can't be like Marks and Spencer's, don't sell any other branded stuff. they've got to be able to. Because the only one you can think really, and we touched on this last week, the only one you can think of really who's done brilliantly is Antonio. And he's really a converted winger.
Yeah.
Like he's not really a tradition. I mean, he's
not scored a huge amount of goals.
Exactly. But he is, isn't he? He's a converted wide player, really.
I know what you mean.
Just because his physical presence, I suppose, dictates
That's
that.
what he's done.
I think he might have even started as a fullback there.
Right.
Oh, blimey.
He's definitely played that in lots of different positions.
Well, now they've got full Krug, of course. And I think that...
I think this is fun.
I think
this
he
is a
can buck the
really
trend.
fun signing.
Yeah, I think he can buck the trend. I hope he does. But but with the Manchester United stuff needing to sell, I mean, they're wanting to sell Wan-Bissaka, and he's going,
he's doing the Maguire, basically.
Yeah.
He is, yes, indeed. He's saying that they're not going to match his wages. Reportedly $90,000 a week he's on. And Manchester United are saying, all right, we'll give you a chunk of the transfer fee.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to get rid of players for some reason, obviously financial reasons. And he's going, nope, I want my $90,000 plus a week. So we shall see. But I mean, look, as the window, you mentioned this the other day on the podcast, of course, that as the window starts to, we get to the end of it, the transfer window, people will have to blink sooner or later. And if Manchester United need the money, if they really want to make these sales,
well,
a bird in the hand and all that kind of stuff.
They're going to have to buy some money.
They apparently only made FSR this season because of a COVID payment, and they got something like 30 million, where other clubs only got 1 million. And it's all pretty kind of like, why did they get so much money for COVID?
Well, this is why Fulham have gone 3 bids for McTominay, and so you can see they're doing the old. What was that game? Was it Sensible World of Soccer? You could just go,
bump it up,
and you kind of do it.
Well, so you reckon as the transfer window comes to a close, they'll just sell him?
Well, I don't think they'll. I don't think they'll let someone sort of steamroll at them. But you have to have some movement. If you need some money and you've got some, you're hanging on for another 4 or 5 million. As Pete said, if they're sailing pretty close to the wind with some stuff, then, as I say,
gotta go.
Yeah, exactly.
But the big thing for me is it's not in the running order. Is that Portsmouth have re-signed Matt Ritchie?
That's a lovely one.
That's a big move. That's a big move of the summer.
How old's Matt Ritchie now?
I think he's that old. Is he 34?
You were about to say 20 something.
He's 34, I think.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why I said that was just ambitious. By
He's had a very light couple of seasons as well, so he'll be as fresh as a daisy.
Well rested.
Depends if you're a corner flag or not.
What a brilliant.
And UFC.com went with Frats My Boy, which I think is a lovely thing.
It's a lovely sort of end to that story, isn't it? Was Matt Ritchie not the player who was...
It's not the end, Jim.
Sure.
It's not the
It's
end.
the beginning.
Are you going to take him around the pubs of Southampton and Portsmouth?
Southampton.
All right, just Portsmouth.
Have a word with him, Mark.
He's not a fan of the pubs of Portsmouth, famously.
First of all, he's from Gosport.
Peter,
Right, okay.
I play football with a man who's from Southampton, big Southampton fan. His father's a massive Southampton fan.
Mm-hmm.
He married a girl from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And he has...
Were wills modified?
Possibly.
Quite possibly, Peter. Goes to football with his... As I can see, has a decent relationship with his father.
Yeah.
He got married in Portsmouth. Dad didn't go to the wedding. Wow. He told me this. And when I thought...
He'll live to regret that, I think.
I genuinely can't say what I really want to say.
My family, if it was the other way around, my family would be like, obviously they would go, but they'd be like, there's going to be jokes in the speech.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the level we're talking about.
But was
I recommended counselling, genuinely.
Was Matt Ritchie not the player who was sort of let go from Portsmouth when he was quite young because he was no better than what we've already got? And then he was like immediately a Premier League player.
I think it might have been Steve Cotterill.
Right.
I think. I can't remember. I have to look it up.
I loved Richie.
Yeah, and he's like, people are delighted. Absolutely, because it kind of came from nowhere. Portsmouth have announced a couple of quite exciting signs in the last week or so.
Darren Anderson on his way back.
Anderton's coming. Yeah,
Big Sol.
Yeah,
Big Sol.
Yeah, Mark Chamberlain, Alexander Chamberlain's dad. Yeah, Paul Walsh, Guy Whittingham's coming back as well.
Harry Redknapp.
But right, you've gone too far. And so people were just absolutely delighted because you know what football fans like, particularly on like Instagram, when they announce stuff on Instagram, like. All the fans of Portsmouth are like on Instagram are like, fucking hell, waste of time. They did that when Portsmouth got John Mousinho because he'd never really done any management before. People like cheap option, fucking finished club, all this kind of stuff. And they've literally got the best record outside of Arteta and Guardiola and McKenna in the whole country, I think. So it's a really exciting signing. He's a Bay House boy and I'm a Broome Park boy, but we won't hold that against him. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he's going to kick the shit out of corner flags all over the championship. And we've got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he kicked the corner flag into that bloke's nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. More of that would be great.
Yeah.
Terrifies the championship with that stuff.
Oh, absolutely right. And there's no VAR to get him.
Exactly.
So keep doing that until you get back into the Prem. All right, everybody, let's have a quick break.
Been to see the referee. I've told him that one of his assistants was eating a sandwich at the time. I thought that was a complete lack of respect. Hopefully he enjoyed his sandwich while he was talking to a Premier League manager.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Of course, not a Premier League manager anymore.
No.
Part of me is quite sad about that. Part of me is quite relieved.
Yeah.
It's the fine line that we walk in this old football cesspit, isn't it?
I think you can get a lot out of the quote there itself that will tell you about why he's not a Premier League manager anymore.
Is that a meal deal?
Yeah.
Oh dear. We mentioned VAR at the end of the first half. Well, Rangers played a Champions League qualifier against Dynamo Kyiv last night. Ended 1-1.
Yeah, Rangers scored in the last goal kick of the game.
Very
didn't they,
late
to equalise
goals.
stuff.
Could be a vital one.
Yeah.
There were VAR officials involved, of course, in this game. It's Champions League, for crying out loud, despite it being early August. Now, the VAR officials, though, did have to be changed on the day of the game. This was because the original VAR officials were arrested for stealing a road sign. I know what you're saying. Presumably caught on CCTV. That would be a bit of justice, wouldn't it?
Been down the student union. They've nicked a shopping trolley. There's only one place to go from that.
I think it's you who stole that road sign, but just let me go to my monitor.
Yeah. Right, let's replay it. Is that you or is that not you? Quote from local police said, around 1:40 a.m. we received a report of 3 men carrying a roadside down the street. They were arrested at 1:43. I tell you what, they were quick. On a charge of destroying road infrastructure. I would, if the coppers knew who they were, do the old caught you on CCTV doing the old TV signal like that.
Just go over to check it.
Yeah.
So they're Polish, weren't they? The VAR team.
Yeah.
And it's surprising because it's a ridiculous story anyway. But referees and like match officials, I've met a fair amount of them. They're all quite dull.
Serious people.
Yeah, like it's like police officer types, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite weird that they're doing this clearly in the middle of being on a trip for this game.
Yeah.
Like a work trip.
Maybe they're having some sort of existential crisis and they're trying to learn to live a little. It's like, what do the fun people do?
Yeah.
Do you not remember though when
road signs.
loads of were they Premier League referees, different referees from this country, when they went out on a jolly to Thailand? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Seeing some of the
Right.
photos, and I'll leave that there.
Yeah, I do remember that. But that
Yeah.
wasn't around the game, was it? That was,
No.
That was a holiday.
It was a holiday, but I'm just saying that you're right when they seem sort of quite serious and whatnot. But
Buttoned up men.
It's basically the kind of thing that Pete would do before a live show when we're on tour.
I was nearly thrown out of university for doing something quite similar. And it's pathetic and it's very.
What year are we talking about?
Student.
2001, something like that?
Yeah, 1999.
Right,
maybe
okay.
2000.
But you were like a teenager,
Yeah.
effectively, right?
Oh,
You weren't
yeah.
a fully grown adult referee.
I was hauled up against the beak of De Montfort University in Leicester.
They don't put you up
Security-
against the bit, they put you in front of the
Put you in front of the bit.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very small room, and he was. I'd recently done a history module on the Weimar Republic, and I kept on saying, "This is a diktat. I'm not agreeing to these terms."
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, beret on. What had you actually done? What was the specific
I
charge?
regret
Somebody
camera
in
phones
my
not
halls
existing
of
back in
residence had
those days.
stolen some street signs.
And all you've done is
I-
enjoyed a succulent Chinese meal, of
I
course.
kicked open a door to look at the booty, basically.
Oh, okay, right.
And they'd been locked up for, I don't know, police interaction, and I kicked open the door, and I was caught kicking open the door to have a
Silly.
look at them.
Foolish.
And yeah, I was they was threatening me to get kicked out of university. I said, I'm not having this. I'm not. Basically, they said you have to apologise for stealing the road signs. I was not involved in stealing the road signs.
No, yeah.
I
This is a diktat.
Kicked the door down.
I just kicked
Yeah,
the
I
door
just
down.
broke someone's
I just
door.
kicked the
So
door
what
down.
happened then? They
You
just
attacked
blew over.
evidence.
I think he just got bored of it after a while.
Yeah.
He's a security officer.
You
at
just
Montfort
think he's like, this
University.
guy's a fucking wanker. I can't bother to speak to him
This
anymore.
guy's a live wire. I can't control him.
Hang on.
I'm leaving my post immediately.
I think I know what happened.
What?
He's suddenly thought, is that the guitarist for One Eyed Willie?
Is that the
They're one of my favourite bands. You're right. You're good to go, mate.
Yeah.
You look like a
See you
local, judge or something like that. In the, and you thought, we'll leave this guy.
Don't wanna touch
Because you
it.
do look like a lot of people.
I do
Yeah,
look like
yeah,
it.
it does.
Were you taken to a sobering up centre like these VAR officials were?
No, just one of the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Used to have drunk tanks here, didn't they, as well? It's basically a drunk tank.
Yeah, but I don't know if drunk tanks were like that here, but apparently they charge you for them.
Yeah, you have to
they?
pay. Yeah, you have to pay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Room
Yeah.
and board.
But I
Do you
think
get their
it's,
food?
It's the price of a round as well.
it's
Get
one
a bit
of
of
those
pasta?
ones. I think it's really expensive. It's one of those ones where it's like they feel that society is a win-win, right? So you haven't got to do all the processing of
Actually
through the court
doing
system
the
and
court
stuff.
system.
You put them in the sobering up centre, which is like I say, is basically a drunk tank. They have to pay for that, so they basically get a fine,
Yeah.
and they get to sober up and then go home.
It's not much of a deterrent, is it?
But
At no point on the night out, you're thinking, you know what, I don't think I'm going to have another one. Because just in case I leave this pub, steal some road signs, cause some sort of havoc that means I end up in a drunk tank and have to pay for it later. There are too many steps between
But
it.
I didn't have you down as a solid law and order guy, Jim. I thought you were a lot more liberal than that.
Oh, I'm just smarter about it.
Yeah, fair
Would
enough.
Luke kind
You're
of
drunk now, aren't you?
Do you kind of speed up? Do you try and do you try and speed up like the sobering up?
Say that to me.
You just get loads of coffees.
Loads of coffees and kind of Monster Energy and some pasta.
It's a really, really hot room, and you just
sweats it all out.
They give you a Barocca on the way out.
you get a sweatsuit on. There's a boxing trainer there. It's a funny old
VAR
thing.
officials should not be doing this.
No,
Nobody should.
No.
What best case scenario? They're going to be doing VAR with a hangover.
I want you to say nobody should be doing this.
Nobody should be doing this.
Right.
It says here.
Right. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Right. Let's have an Olympic update. We've been enjoying the football. It was good that France beat Argentina. We can all agree on that.
Oh,
Justice was done.
Totally.
And France will be playing Spain in the Olympic gold medal match.
What a summer for the Spanish.
Yeah, I want France to win.
Yeah, they were good in the...
Just because of what the Spanish did to us.
They were good and they did do it directly to us.
I just want... I don't like this. They always win the finals. It's predictable.
They also... I think they did do it to us because if they had been playing anyone else in that final in the Euros, they wouldn't have tried to win.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
It's just because it's against England.
They disrespected us.
They disrespected Gareth.
They hate our tourists and they hate our football.
And Gareth lost his job. So I hope you're happy.
They've already won a gold medal this morning, Spain, in the marathon race walk mixed relay.
Oh,
That's a shame.
Bloody
that's
hell.
an actual event in the Olympics.
Oh, you can
Maria
find
Perez, hang your head.
I was thinking this the other day. I was thinking to myself, flip the TV on again. For about the 45th day in a row, some kind of swimming was happening. And I was thinking, they must have run out of combinations of swimming now.
Yeah, I bet that water stinks.
It's outrageous. They're just basically listing swimming events that I've never even heard of.
Horse swimming.
Yeah.
What's this one? It's the 46 metre. Hang on. You've had the
They do a really weird thing with the swimming now as well, where they have a graphic on the screen in the lanes to
Yeah, it's
show
cool.
you the order of what they're in. I don't think it is.
That's
It's
cool.
just distracting.
It does the speed as well. It does the speed they're travelling at.
Do we need that?
No, but you watch, Jim, you watch swimming outside of the Olympics.
You're a purist.
So,
You're a purist.
This will
That's
annoy
right,
you,
yeah.
I understand.
But anyway, in this semi-final against Egypt, France were actually pretty good.
They were.
It looked like on paper they needed extra time to beat Egypt, which of course they did. But they hit the post and the bar so about 5 or 6
a
times.
really good game.
They were everywhere. And I thought the combination of Elise and Mateta, of course, Elise's moved on now, but the Crystal Palace kind of connection.
Oh, man.
Mateta is rubbing absolute dirt in Brassel's face every single time he plays
Indeed.
now.
Yeah. And Brassel he's a face full of dirt, as we know.
And that's why me and Mateta get on so well.
Indeed. And I tell you something. Harry Kane, mind how you go, because if I was Bayern Munich's one of their bigwigs, you want to get him in.
Well, they've got 6
combo.
goals between them, 6 goals and 4 assists for France at the Olympics.
And does it get any bigger than that?
And I'll tell you what it is as well. Did you see Henri's celebration on the on the bench? He wants that big gig
Massively.
because Deschamps not going to be here forever.
He wasn't looking at his players, was he?
No, he was doing the old Jude Bellingham to the crowd.
Yeah.
I love it. I agreed with you, Jim, when you said the other
Put that
day
in the dossier.
you're sort of slightly jealous that we don't have this. I mean, we had it once, and Stuart Pearce was manager. Mm-hmm. England and
Very
Wales.
different flavour. though.
England and Wales
That does
combined.
make it sound like that went so badly. We're like, we're never doing that. We're never doing that.
I
again.
don't think that Thierry Henry listens to loads of punk music and would look like he'd punch you in the face.
Was Ryan Giggs captain as well?
He might have been.
Yeah, I think everyone just thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a bit of French punk music. I bet that sounds really lovely.
But I think it was before everyone knew how bad Ryan Giggs was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't
Ça
remember.
plante pas moi.
But they only did the British.
One-eyed Willie.
William.
The British team was just for the 2012 one, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously London was.
And we didn't get a
hosting
medal either, did we?
it. Quarter-final penalty shootout loss against South Korea. if I
How
remember
do you
right.
know that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I did
That's
see,
outside your reservation. You shouldn't be getting involved.
I just remember.
Yeah. Good times.
I love this country.
Well, he's obviously the reason he remembers it is very surprising because Marcus A is very pro-English but very anti-British.
That's not true at all. and as I say this, you're
Ducking for the arrows. Ducking for the arrows and giving everyone the eyebrows looking over there.
I love it how saying that in the current climate somehow makes me sound like a scumbag as well.
Yeah.
You've done me a kipper
Where's
there.
the cap fit?
Look,
If the bin's on fire, being pushed slowly towards a policeman.
That guy. Do you remember we've gone from right that fat bloke on the heat wave last year, just having a lovely bath in his bin.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
In ice.
Yeah.
It's his
and it's
bin,
gone
he can
from-
do what he wants.
It's gone from ice to fire.
Yeah.
They're wheeling fire the
Game of
same
Thrones.
bin.
What's the next level
On
in
fire.
Super Mario?
I perish the thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that Britain should come together for the next Olympic Games.
I agree.
I think
we
it'd be
should
fun.
have one.
It would be
You're
fun.
right,
Great.
Giggle.
Oh, there was a point in the France game where Alexander Lacazette missed a sitter.
He did, and he missed it by miles as well.
I don't miss that.
Again,
and the game
egg
was-
on Brassel's face.
Yeah, and the game was in Lyon, was it not?
Yes,
I think it was.
I think
it was in Lyon. I think the game was in Lyon because I think there's a lot of Lyon fans in the crowd, obviously wanting Lacazette, who's one of their best players, to do really well. He missed that chance by miles as well. It was bad.
And of course, if it was Team GB who had got to the final, we'd be going silver medal guaranteed in the bag.
Exactly.
And we'd say we've had enough of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But there we are.
No, we'd take it. It's Olympics.
I think we would. I think we would. Right, let's get back to what some might call proper football, disrespectfully. Manchester United are gearing up for the new season,
mate.
of course.
This
It's
quote,
gonna be good, isn't it?
This quote,
gonna be good.
file this quote you're about to say right under things I massively want to hear pre-season because it is sensational.
It's from the mouth of Andre Onana.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Manchester United
It's a
goalkeeper.
pre-meme, which
is a
is really
pre-meme.
kind of him.
Yeah, when
Seconds before disaster Reddit,
yeah,
it's going to be all over this.
when Manchester United signed him from Inter, he came huge reputation, of course. And,
World's best keeper, a lot of people were saying.
and indeed, couldn't be bothered. Well, didn't want to play for Cameroon at the World Cup because he didn't play his style. Obviously, he wants to play in a certain way, and he's good at it. He's schooled at Ajax. Certainly for a period. of his career.
Pre-Henderson.
Pre-Henderson, very much so. There is a distinction.
Because it goes Renus Michels, doesn't it? They all through crew, what was the lineage
That's right.
from the start all the way through to Henderson
Yeah.
now.
Boom.
And Anana's pre-Henderson.
Yeah,
and that,
yeah, definitely. So Onana, when asked about in the coming season, he was talking about Manchester United, obviously what they can expect from him in the new year. Because his first year, I mean, look, they won the FA Cup for crying out loud. So it ended on a very, very good note. But I think that there was a few question marks over him. There was some teething in the Premier League and whatnot. But you can't really blame him because he's playing at Manchester United. It's a bit of a madhouse.
It was chaos there the whole
and
time.
defensively, he didn't have the protection and so on and so forth.
Say the quote.
I will take a lot of risks. Okay. You think to yourself, after that season, maybe just get your head down, bed in, knock it long a few times and then see. I can tell you in advance already. Be prepared because it's going to be this season. Trust me, I will enjoy it even more when this season starts.
Is he a double agent?
He did say this with a bit of a smile, I should say. But
I mean,
my
the
goodness.
journalist probably made the same face that Sarah makes when I say I bought you something online. Like, it's kind of like just still like, oh god,
Yeah.
Again.
He's basically saying, I'm going to
Superb.
fuck you lot up. I don't care.
Because I think it's fun.
This is not a message to us. It's not a message to the media. It's a message to the centre halves who
It's
are
a
going to be playing for
warning
Manchester
shot.
United.
This is my season as well.
Yeah.
This is my Christmas as well.
I want to play football too.
Yeah.
And for crying out loud, if you turn away when I've got the ball in my hands, thinking it's going to go over your head, another thing coming, you've got to be prepared. He elaborated on it, saying even if it's like people are marking the defenders and all this kind of stuff, it's like, no, you're going to have to earn your money if you're a Manchester United defender next season. Which if I was Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take 70 grand a week. Get me out of here.
I've got Marquis Smith in goal.
Well, the opening day of the season, Marcus, Friday night. Beautiful Friday night, Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Who's in town?
Team Fulham.
The guys who ransacked him last year, that's who. So cheers, Andre.
Well, I tell you something.
McTominay might be on the other team.
Oh, come on, get him in there. I tell you what, though.
Cheers, Andre. I'll order 3 points to take away, please. Are you eating in? Nah.
Team Fulham are going to gub them. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah.
Pile on because they are going to do them, and they're going to. And if he's going to be passing out from the back, we're going to be pressing from the front.
Yeah.
Might be a baptism of fire for Emil Smith Rowe, but he's all right.
He's
gonna-
scored at Old Trafford before.
and he'll score again.
Yeah.
He will score again.
Andre will make sure of it.
Absolutely right. Yeah, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, if the latter is playing, won't even touch the ball because it won't get up that far. Although they have.
You're going a bit too far now.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, right.
You're doing what Andre Onana's done, haven't you? You've known nothing.
That's true. That's true. I just wanted to try and get their names mentioned because they've recently invested in a new line of baby lotions.
Yeah. Well, it's just another example of players annoying old retired pundits by having other interests outside of the game.
It is. Although Rio Ferdinand, who's not an old pundit, and is the type of sort of entrepreneurial football or former footballer, but he was still quite entrepreneurial when he was playing. you could imagine when this news broke, you know what he's like. He would just be shouting, portfolio, portfolio, portfolio.
FTSE 100, FTSE 100.
Why is it? Well, I mean, presumably Traore passed on this whole thing.
He's just a consumer.
Is he not an ideal kind of figurehead for this sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, you'd think so.
Well, it's baby lotion, not baby oil.
Oh, would it not do the same job?
Well,
Do you ever use baby oil on babies?
that's a good point.
Right. You only put them on strippers, don't you?
But yeah, it's basically
I used to be a stripper.
Krept from Krept and Conan. It's his company.
Right.
He's
okay.
married to like an influencer, and I think they've started it, and then I guess they kind of ventured out into it, and they're looking for funding, and I suppose they probably got a connection there.
There you go.
But the footballers are all doing investments, obviously now. Yeah, there was a story, wasn't there, earlier this week, because Danny Drinkwater's doing. He's got a property development company.
Yes.
And he was seen on the tours, wasn't he? I think he was getting involved, and the Sun tried to do a hit job on him.
Yeah, but the tabloids do that, don't they? If a footballer doesn't just put their money into a regular bank account, then they're angry.
Just live off the interest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is it not a little bit grand designs if you've got like an ex-footballer who probably doesn't have that much of a grounding and being a foreman?
I don't think he's doing the property development on his own.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I just worry McLeod might have a few things to say about
you're being
it.
a bit tabloid yourself. Oh, well, he can't possibly learn anything post-football.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Why do you hate people
I just
so
don't
much?
think he's had time to learn everything he needs to be. He probably hasn't done his health and safety. I'm just worried for the other people on the site.
He'll have done his health and
He
safety.
will have done his
You can
health and
do that
safety,
in about an
right,
hour and a
okay.
half.
Oh, now who's criticising the building trade?
I'm not criticising. I'm saying they're very succinct and get it done. So everyone is well
Can I
drilled.
also just say that?
But there does seem to be a lot of bricks lying around.
I'll put up with a lot, but I will not put up with being lectured by Pete Dawes on the health and safety. That's one thing I will not accept.
He goes on a flight. Right, here's I heard it all before. I'll look after myself.
We were talking about modifying the studio quite recently, and the only question I had was, can I buy a circular saw?
There we are.
Can I do some chopping?
Yeah. Something that you have a lot of experience in is DJing.
Okay, right, yeah.
So in you come. Gary Neville made his DJ debut at the weekend, played a set at Kendall Calling alongside Charlatans frontman Tim Burgess.
Yeah.
I've got something to say on this.
Hey, we like Tim Burgess.
I love Tim Burgess.
There you go.
I think he's spread a bit thin.
Yeah, I think on balance, I think Gary Neville is a good thing. Let me make that clear.
What about Phil?
I'm not sure we've got time to squeeze Phil in.
Phil
now.
Neville's a wanker.
There we go.
That's
Fine.
that's
Thank
but
you.
that's
Yeah,
Pete.
yeah,
saying
yeah.
Right, that's me.
I think Gary Neville can be odd,
Yes.
and I think he's fucking everywhere. I feel like it should be. It seems reasonable to me that people can expect to go to a festival and not have to see Gary Neville. And it's like the one place these days you probably won't see him.
I know, yeah.
Right? And he's into football, he's into politics,
Yeah.
into TV, he's into business, he's into podcasts. He's all over LinkedIn, by the way.
Is he?
Right? I feel like he should leave one thing alone.
Yeah.
And give the general public a break. So to me, this is I do think he's a good thing on balance, but on balance again, this is an unwelcome development. No music festival is being made better by Gary Neville turning up with his fucking Cortinas CD. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have to stop the music repeatedly to give his opinions on the
No,
Manchester United situation.
he didn't, and he shouldn't have done that. I think he was essentially just standing next to Tim Burgess, though,
Yeah.
wasn't he, in practice?
He seemed a bit nervous.
The footage is him pressing a button that I've seen and then playing Not 19 Forever by the Cortinas.
Well, he did say recently that, he said a little bit of sort of high performance this. He said post-football, I wanted to go out of my comfort zone as much as possible.
By playing a CD in a tent.
This is one of them.
I'm not mixing a CD in a tent.
There you go. There's
I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, so I took my CDs collection to Kendall.
You're right. It is a bit high performance, isn't it? Like Neville could discover some sort of new, like, renewable energy source in his shed, essentially solve the world's energy problems, and somehow it'd be a bit lame. Do you know what I mean?
Jake
And Matthew
Humphries.
Flamini would have already done it.
Well,
Yeah,
indeed.
he's on it.
But
Do you reckon
I,
Jake Humphries ever done any DJing?
it's just going to
that's
be.
a shame,
It'll just be the Top Gear
Massively.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which would be the best Father's Day album in the world ever.
Oh, he is the most Wonderwall at a party dickhead you've ever seen in your life.
Oh.
And where might he be performing, out of interest?
I've got to be careful though, because Gary Neville follows me on Twitter. You guys, so
Right,
I can't slag him off too much.
There's Tim Burgess as well.
I think he might. He definitely did.
Get a load of that.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
up on the stage
Here's
with
my
them.
impression of Tim Burgess. You're right.
Yeah, that is.
So,
that's
yeah.
basically Tim Burgess. Yeah.
You're right.
Or Phil Neville.
I do actually. I don't want Tim Burgess to catch any strays from us, but I do
Right,
love the
okay.
man, and I think we all do really. So he's probably friends with Gary from back in the day, I expect.
I half watched his band when we went to go see him.
Yeah, you were watching Newcastle on your phone. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Tim's not a football guy, though. I don't think Tim
No,
Burgess, so he
think so.
probably wouldn't appreciate that.
I can't see under that barnet.
Gary is, though.
He is.
Let's finish with this. Philip Lahm.
Sometimes.
I want to talk about another decorated fullback, Philip Lahm. Have you seen this? He's going to rent his house out on Airbnb for £18 a night.
Yeah.
On a particular date in October.
So it's a night rather
Yeah,
than just
right.
one night rather than
It feels like it's almost like a competition.
yeah.
Right.
You've got to kind of you've got to try and I don't know, what do you do? Sort of sign up to the. I mean,
To me, it feels like a bit of an Airbnb PR idea.
Yeah.
yes,
sounds like that.
it does. Yeah,
So we've fallen right into the trap.
We have. I once went on a stag do where we'd hired a place, and for a little while we thought we were in Rob Lee's house. Turned out we were not in Rob Lee's house.
Right.
Why?
But there was one of those little bobblehead things of Rob Lee
Rob Lee.
right in the bedrooms, and there was a car outside where it looked like the number plate might be personalised to say Rob Lee. It just looked like that, and it was like a car, like a KA.
You were on a stag do. Yeah.
Circumstantial evidence everywhere. Really.
Well, there was enough that for about 5 minutes we were like, we're in Rob Lee's house.
Right.
We weren't, but that 5 minutes was excellent. So whoever gets this is going to have the best time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, this is like for £18. Obviously, there must be some sort of transactional fee involved or something because it is like his place is fantastic.
It's just a promotional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could
Just
someone
a
tell me if
one-off promotion thing.
Nigel Benn lives in Leon C? Because there's a personalised number plate on not
Who?
a great car.
Nigel Benn?
Nigel Benn.
I think he lives in Australia now. We
Right.
certainly did.
Okay, good. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Might have sold his car,
Exactly.
but you end up with
Quite,
a
yeah.
personalised Nigel Benn number plate.
Haven't you got a neighbour called Nigel?
No. I've got one who looks like Mike Ashley,
Right.
which is fun.
I'm sure you had a neighbour called Nigel.
No.
What's the name of your neighbour that you speak to all the time?
Stuart?
Stuart.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah. I'll get confused. Just on the number plate thing, you take that number plate wherever you go. So
Right.
if you sell the car with that number plate on it, you have to keep the number plate. It's registered to you. So you
No, it's
couldn't
registered
just-
at the car.
No, it's not.
What?
gentlemen.
No, it's registered at the car.
Is it?
It's on that car. You can transfer, right?
yeah,
It's registered at the car.
that's
I do think.
No, this is important. Hang on a minute.
I do think we need to end the show.
No, can I
talking
just
about
make- can I
number
just make-
plates and
Let's
Pete,
sash it into
what's your
Ramble and
neighbour's
Cut.
name again?
Go back to Philip Lahm.
Oh, it's not. No, okay, yeah. I thought
Go
it
back
was-
to Philip Lahm. Can I also just say, if you
This
do,
sounds like a barbecue at this point.
if you do, that's what this whole fucking show is. We're all fucking hungry though. If you look at that promotional thing that Lahm's doing, you also do receive 2 tickets to a buying game
Yeah.
and a dinner from a professional chef and a signed
Right,
shirt.
right.
So it's
Yeah.
not just a big competition. Of
course
we're
it
doing
is.
Airbnb's fucking work for him. Is what
Yeah.
we're doing.
That's
Which is
what we're
annoying.
Shame that.
There is a sort of little replica World Cup trophy thing, which if you do stay at Philip Lahm's house and that's still there
Yeah.
in the morning,
Pop
you're a
pop it on
loser.
your willy.
Yeah, pop it on your willy.
Yeah, like, you know. That's
Can't
what
pop
you
on
do.
your willy,
That's what
can you? It's like-
sort of, well, hump it. I would say that...
like Emmy Martin.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
I would say that in Airbnbs, the first thing I do is have a good old mooch around. There have been situations where, specifically in Illinois, a man who owned the property came to the front door of the property and I had his jacket on. It's not ideal, but I do love a mooch.
But you also
So I would spend ages just mooching around.
within 5 minutes of going to one once with the partner you have access to, you're up in the attic and you put your foot through the seat and you spent the whole weekend fixing it.
Yep, correct.
Never accept Pete's booking.
Went
That's
back
the
there,
lesson.
went back
Philip,
there,
if you-
fixed it well. They didn't notice.
Yeah.
We need to get you in Philip Lahm's place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get me in Lahm's house.
Thank you for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an upload. A single upload. Don't miss out on the uploads. The uploads are important.